So when he was just 8 years old, Jamie Bell wanted to be Tintin, that brave boy reporter with the Ed Grimley coif from the Belgian comic books. And right about the same time, Jamie was in movie theaters watching the movie picture shows, and he was watching this critically acclaimed reptile documentary.
Yikes. Wow.
Jamie, like many, was blown away by Jurassic Park and made a note to remember the name of the director, one Steven Spielberg, cue to 2011, and Spielberg is directing Jamie in the big-budget film version of Tintin.
I don't think you realize this, but you're about to walk into a whole mess of danger.
Playing your childhood hero for Spielberg. That's got to be a hell of a trip. And it's a long way from Belgium, the working-class town in northern England, where Jamie was raised by his mom. He took ballet classes in a room full of little girls, kept it a secret so he wouldn't get teased at school. And if that sounds like Billy Elliot, it's because it is. Jamie beat out 2,000 other boys to land the part of Billy.
Just there, flying, like a bird.
It was his first film, and because he could relate so closely to Billy, Jamie played it with a lot of heart, and the world fell for that dancing boy. Since then, he's worked to make the transition from boy to man while playing boys who became men.
Nothing is impossible. What we all have done is impossible.
And now with Tintin, Jamie's a man playing a boy, and it takes him back to where it all began.
The model ship conceals a clue to one of the greatest secrets in all history.
Everybody, please welcome Jamie Bell.
How's it going?
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, too.
Well done in the film.
Oh, thank you very much.
Really, really good, and it's a hard film to do because Tintin is an important character,
Yeah,
and an important story. So when it first came to you, what did you think?
Well, you know, I was like a massive fan of the books as a kid. You know,
And
like
you're not just like bullshitting it because you're the actor.
No. I genuinely mean that.
Really?
Like, I mean, yeah. No, actually, someone told me that I should come out and say that I'm a massive fan of Tintin. Actually, I really hate it. I really can't say that. Just happened to play the part. No. For me, it was so unique for me because I actually came across it myself. The French-Canadian, actually, TV show in the early 90s was playing on Channel 4 in England, and I used to watch it in my bedroom, and there was just something different about the character. There was just something unique about him. He was dealing with different things. He was like dealing with political corruption, and like Tom and Jerry like wasn't dealing with that. You know,
But he was alone. That was the craziest thing about Tintin.
Yeah, but then he he had a sidekick who was an alcoholic, and his only friend was a dog, and there was just something that was so strange and ethereal.
Is he an orphan? Is he not? Why does he?
Yeah, where are his parents? Like, why is he constantly putting himself in danger all the time? You know, all these questions are so unanswered, and it is that mystery, and I'm going to get into a bit of like the Tintin mythology because I'm a bit of a Tintinologist.
Bring it on. You better be. You're him.
It's that mythology. It's the unknown about the character that makes him so accessible to young people. That's why he's been so successful since 1929. Listen, first time he appeared in Belgian newspapers, 1929. Since then, 200 million books sold, 80 different languages. You know, the readership is from 7 to 70. This is a beloved character, you know, predominantly in Europe and in places like China and India, but it's a massive responsibility, and I feel so grateful to be entrusted, you know, to play.
How did you get the gig? I know you tried out for Spider-Man.
I did.
Right.
Failed.
You didn't get that?
Major fail. But they got the right guy, though.
They got a good guy, Garfield, right? But when your agent says to you, hey, listen, do you want to go for this? Is Peter Jackson calling you? How do you get to a place where you're all of a sudden flying down to try out for this?
Well, I'd met Steven when I was like 15, 16, which is a massive, massive deal because,
Spielberg.
Yeah, it's Spielberg, you know, and to me as a kid, when I first saw a Spielberg movie, I genuinely thought that Steven Spielberg was like otherworldly. I thought he was like an alien, because he made dinosaurs live and boys fly on bicycles. And I was like, that is unbelievable. You know, you're kind of like a Houdini character. So to actually sit down and be like, oh my God, you're a real person. Yeah. That's incredible. Was a massive deal. So we talked about Tintin then, and then it kind of went away. The technology kind of had to catch up. Peter Jackson's people down in New Zealand were really figuring a lot of stuff out with this kind of technology. And basically, I just got a phone call saying, do you want to just come down and just have a go at seeing what you're like with this technology? So I arrived there, literally straight off the plane from London to New Zealand, which is a hell of a long flight. And they put me straight into like a motion capture stage, which looks nothing like any other set I've ever worked on in my life.
It's not a giant green room, like.
It's like one big grey room, basically, with like lots of people sitting behind computers doing this, and you feel like they're about to like launch you into lower Earth orbit or something, because like everyone's just typing away on the computers, and then you wear this like ridiculous kind of speed skating outfit,
really
made of
unflattering
lycra.
suit.
And very tightly fitting, kind of like a Spider-Man kind of situation, honestly. And then they put this helmet on you, and then on this helmet there's this bar that comes out of it, and there's like a little camera attached to it, which is probably like one of the most unflattering images you'll ever see of yourself ever. And then they say, right, go, act. You're like, this isn't acting. This is like torture for actors. This is horrendous. So all of the kind of unfamiliarity of your environment is really unsettling. But then as soon as you start, and you see that actually it's just performance, it's just acting, and that's the thing that becomes familiar, it's really enjoyable, because then it's just inventive, you're using your imagination, and suddenly I respect to kind of, having a real childlike enthusiasm with acting, which is great.
It's certainly a lot of the action sequence in this, I thought it takes you back to the dancing days, because it did feel like it was a dance.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the forward motion, it felt like you were actually just dancing throughout this particular movie.
Yeah, I think this medium really requires you to have a certain level of control and understanding of expression with your body physically. And that, for me, definitely came in useful, because I danced since I was 6.
I know that most of the women watching, and at least 10% of the men watching, want to know what it's like dancing beside, or working beside Daniel Craig in one of those outfits.
Right.
That's very exciting to a lot of them, I think. Because you worked with him in Defiance, but a very different kind of film.
Yeah, no, totally. We were in the forest of Lithuania, in like wolf skins and things like that. Hiding from Nazis, exactly. This time it's slightly different, yeah. It was good. It was great. I mean, I love Daniel. I think he's really great in the movie. Does he look good in a lycra suit? Yes, he does. Like, okay, fine. More than it was just collaborative. The experience was really collaborative. Everyone was a massive fan of Tintin, and what we really wanted to do was just try and bring the books to life, and really respect the books and Hergé, the creator of Tintin, and all that good stuff.
Talent is something you have, clearly, but talent is also, in this business, people have talent and are unable to sustain a career. Right. Off of the success of Billy Elliot and everything that came with that, what did you actively do things to make sure that you were continuing to work in the right roles, didn't blow yourself up personally, so that as a young adult you're here and you're able to have this conversation?
God, I don't know. I mean, there's really, I wish there was like a strategy or like a tactic that I could kind of, or a formula or a sum or equation that would kind of sum up everything that happened to me at that time. I went back to school, which was awful. But probably the best thing that I could have done, honestly.
Awful because you didn't think you needed to?
Well, no, awful because I was just like, literally, I was like, seriously, this is true. I was at the Academy Awards, like on the Sunday or something, and I was back in math class in Belgium in the northeast of England by Tuesday. So I was like, this is horrendous. Like, what happened? I was rubbing shoulders with all the best people, and now I'm rubbing shoulders with my schoolmates. Like, what's going on? But it was the best thing, man, because, it grounds you. It reminds you of who you are, like where you're from. And I think I lost touch with that for a second, maybe, and realized that actually that's essential to who you are. That's your identity, and now I really embrace it. And
but you got a glimpse into a different world, something that most kids your age can't. Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was definitely thrust up front and center.
Did you ever get into trouble with that?
No. I was really well taken care of. My manager's here today. She's been with me for 12 years. She was with me before Billy Elliot even came out. And loyalty in this industry is really hard to come by. And when you can find someone to work with and collaborate with who puts you first before you as a product, then that's everything.
There is this idea that you don't change, everything around you changes.
Right.
And I know when you go back to class a couple of days later, people who used to make fun of you for dancing all of a sudden look at you like, oh, you're one step closer to Angelina or to whatever.
I don't know, man. You think that, but like actually, I think it's harder for them to make the adjustment because they're like seeing you on newspapers or on television. That's like alien to them. I mean, it's a totally weird experience. I mean, it must be just as weird for them as it was for me.
One of the big reasons for being for a parent is they want to make sure that their kids will have a better shot at life, have a good shot at life, and that they will be okay.
Right.
Once you've established that you're working and you've got that, how's the relationship with your mother changed? Is some of the pressure off her now, and you can have a different kind of relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think my mom was always like really, really supportive of everything I wanted to do. It was her who kind of put me into dance class. So I owe everything to her. So, but yeah, no, she's always been very supportive, and and now because when you're a kid actor, you need like a chaperone to go around with you everywhere, like to on movie sets and stuff like that, and it got to the point where she didn't need to do that anymore. So there was kind of like an interesting separation that kind of happened. But I've really flourished, I think, as a young man, and thanks to her, a lot of her instruction and parenting as a kid have really kind of rubbed off on me. So, yeah.
Do you have an idea of, you said there's no math to how you got to this place, but now that you become more aware, do you have an idea of the kind of career that you want to build?
Still work, keep working would be good. That's always a good start.
Did you ever worry that you wouldn't?
Yeah, of course, man. Like, I'd never been an actor before. You know, I had no idea what I was getting. I knew nothing about the film industry, knew nothing about how it worked, nothing about being an actor. You know, I mean, I was a dancer, you know, and I definitely had a bit of spunk about me. You know, I was definitely one of those kind of kids at school who was a bit spunky. Sounds weird.
Well, you chose to be a dancer in a time, in a town where that's not really what you do.
No.
Right.
No, you play
Well,
football.
and also, I mean, you grew up in a similar situation that I did, and a lot of cats did. If they grew up without a father in a big part of their life, that's an even bigger choice.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that male figure to learn from.
Right, to say, you can't do that.
That's right.
Can you imagine? Maybe if I had a father, I wouldn't even be here, actually. That's the truth.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, thank God. Thank you. Thank you, Dad. Wherever you are. Thank you.
Wherever you are.
Yeah, seriously.
No idea.
No, genuinely not. But that's okay. I mean, listen, if you didn't have something, you don't miss it.
Right.
I think, you know, and, you know, I feel very confident in my masculinity as a person to be okay with that. You know?
For sure. And dancing got you to the Academy Awards.
Yeah, no, I owe everything to that decision. It was a good decision.
Stick around. We have more of a conversation with Jamie, and you know, who does he listen to more, Spielberg or Peter Jackson? We'll find out. Anthropology with Jamie Bell after this.
This is actually I think this is the first time I've been actually nominated for Best Actor. To be nominated with all these guys like Tom Hanks and Russell Crowe and Jeffrey Roach and Michael Douglas and all these guys, I was kind of thinking not bothering coming.
Jamie Bell, when he won the BAFTA, the British Academy Award, you beat.
I thought I looked really great there, by the way. Just
You were
saying.
funny.
I was like a hunky 13-year-old kid. It's pretty awesome.
So you're 13's a good age for that because you can be nervous and awkward, but not really. So there's no chance you're going to beat Michael Douglas in your mind, but then you do.
Right.
So it must have been kind of fun when you heard your name.
Oh yeah, hilarious. I was hilariously lots of fun. I was terrified.
Were you really?
Yeah, of course. And then I forgot to thank my mother, and it was a disaster. Disaster. I mean, I was very appreciative of the accolade. I mean, you know, I'm not really big on awards and stuff like that, but you know, it was it was big. That was a big moment for sure.
Other than Tintin, what's your favorite thing from Belgium?
There's a soccer player called Thomas Vermaelen who plays for my team Arsenal.
The
He's
Gunners.
pretty good. Jean-Claude Van Damme is pretty good.
He's all right.
Chocolate is good.
Who's a dancer that you admired the most?
Actually, there's an Australian, and no one's going to know this, so are you sure you want me to say this?
I want them, because if they don't know, they should
Okay, fair enough.
go into the search engine of their choice and look it up.
There is an Australian tap dancer called Dean Perry, and I'll tell you something, when I was 8 years, this might not be interesting, when I was 8 years old, I did a local talent competition where I got up on stage in front of 500 people. That was kind of the first time I've been in front of a lot of people and dancing and stuff, and I did a tap dance, and it didn't go down very well, honestly. No one kind of appreciated it. And then the guy said, who's one of your heroes? And I went, Dean Perry! And it got that exact reaction. Exactly that. Everyone's like...
But the next time you come back, they'll know.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And it'll be all right. Can you sing, what's the song called, 1-0 to the Arsenal? Can you sing that?
1-0 to the Arsenal, 1-0. Like that.
Did Spielberg and Peter Jackson ever get into debates? And on the set, do you have to, someone had to side with one another? What do you think, Jamie? And
between these two guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're both kind of right, honestly, guys.
I can see both sides.
Yeah, no, I totally understand where you're both coming from. No, they actually work incredibly well together, to be honest. You would think, two of the biggest, most successful filmmakers of recent times, and maybe ever, would kind of have massive egos and not work together well at all. But actually, the common language was Tintin. They both have a love of Tintin, and you know, if Stephen made a decision, he'd always run it through Peter first. And I really admired the way they really came together and joined forces in a way. And I think more of Hollywood needs to kind of be able to do that.
All right, the movie's called The Adventures of Tintin. So here's how you can see it, okay? If you're watching us in the province of Quebec, bonsoir, there are two versions, English and en français, obviously. December 9th, both those versions open in Quebec. The rest of Canada gets a chance to not see this handsome face because it's computerized, but to see his moves anyway. In the film, December the 21st. So December 9th in Quebec in both English and French, December 21st all across Canada. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you too.
Jamie Bell, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back.